The next big superhero movie to come out is Marvel Civil War, and based on the comic that it is, it brings up the question of should superheroes be governed or check in with government entities or be held in check, and it's kind of a controversial question. At least for me, I've been thinking about it a lot, and to kind of talk about it and maybe see other points of view on it, I brought Brian, who used to do the Guillory Brother Super Fun show, to talk about it, who is also knows more about Marvel than anyone else I know, so I figured he'd be an advantage on this video. Just jumping right in, what are your thoughts on the idea of holding superheroes in check, of monitoring them and having them report to people?
Well, if you're talking like in the comics or in the movies, like in a make-believe world.
Yeah, in a make-believe world, not
in a make-believe world.
Yeah, not like a vigilante in downtown New Orleans.
Right. In a make-believe world, then no. Because, see, it's tough. It's tough because you know, as a reader, as a viewer, you know who these people are. So you have a relationship with them. Like, you know their personal lives. You know their secret identities. You know what they actually stand for and what they fight for. And even the Punisher, you know, like you said, vigilante, like even the Punisher. Yeah, I mean, technically he's a criminal because he's murdering people.
Yeah.
But, no, like, you know, in the comics, I was Team Cap the whole way, and in the movie I'll probably Team Cap the whole way because it's about freedom, you know. But again, it's hard to say because we know them. Like if you say okay, in reality, you know, say super people started showing up, you know, in the comics we know that Bruce Banner is the Hulk. We know what the Hulk's about. We know that, yes, he causes a lot of destruction, but he's not bad. He's trying to be good. But let's say in reality, some giant green monster shows up and starts punching bad guys or criminals, right? Well, we find out that this giant bad guy is some man named Robert Jensen, right? We don't know who he is. We have no idea. He could be anybody. We don't know what his life's like. We don't know what's inside his mind. But whereas in the comics, we have thought bubbles. We know what they're thinking. So, no, I don't think they should be regulated or anything like that. I mean, granted, it makes for a good story when they are, like, you know. But in the comics, no, I don't think they should be regulated because it's make-believe. It's fantasy.
Well, sure.
You know.
But you know, in the comics or in the movies, yeah, we know them because we're reading about them.
Right.
But think about the people in those comics, the ordinary citizens in those comics.
And that's hard,
and that's how they're perceiving it. Like you're saying,
right.
Robert Jensen.
But that's also very hard to because
they don't know Banner.
Those people are make-believe.
They are.
They don't have names. I don't know the people in the comic. They don't exist. You know, it's reality versus fantasy. Yeah. And in fantasy, whatever makes a good story is a good story. You know,
yeah, sure.
It's make-believe. But, you know, and I can't believe, I'm going to say this. Let's assume that superheroes show up in real life. Because I already think we have enough big government. Sure. And I'm not going to turn this political. But I do think they should be regulated to a certain degree. Like, not necessarily on the national level, but definitely on the local level. Because, I mean, we don't want to be, I mean, imagine if people with powers in real life were regulated by the government, we'd have wars constantly. Yeah. You know, but on a local level, you know, I think it's a little more manageable, as long as, you know, they don't use them for ridiculousness. Like, they use them more of like a police force than a, you know, than a dictatorship, like army type of thing. But no, see, I'm still trying to get inside the head of somebody a normal person that exists within like the MCU or, you know, the comics, and I just can't because they're not fleshed out. Like, they're not, anybody who ever gets a name becomes a character.
Yeah.
And, you know, then you know what they're doing. You know what they think.
Well, I think that's definitely one of the benefits of some of the shows in the MCU, specifically like Daredevil, like Jessica Jones, is you get not a fully fleshed out character, but you get a really good glimpse at characters who are affected by
even
that.
with like Jessica Jones and Luke Cage coming in, you know, and even Daredevil, because Daredevil does have powers. But the Netflix shows are definitely more grounded. Like, yeah, okay, you know, New York, the invasion happened, there are aliens, you know, all this stuff's happening, but it's a street thing, and yeah, they're fighting crime, but you do get to see, I guess, more of the normal person in like the victims and things like that. But even still, those become characters at that point.
Yeah.
Like, that's the key word. They become characters. They're not people. They're characters. But yeah, I mean, it can really. I mean, nobody's wrong in this argument.
Yeah.
Like, yes, okay, they should be, sanctioned. They should be under watch. They should be written. They should
do paperwork.
Yes, or you can say no, they shouldn't, and you're not wrong either way. You're not wrong.
Yeah, and I think
it's make believe.
Yeah, I think that's one of the probably the most interesting parts of Civil War, both comic and the idea of the movie, is there is no right or wrong answer. It's just
exactly
very different opinions, and I can't agree or disagree with either one because I see the strengths of both.
Exactly.
Like, yes, we know Captain America. We know what he's about. We know he probably is the best person to have judgments of what he's going to do. But at the same time,
Stark isn't wrong.
Stark isn't wrong. Like, yes, there's Captain America, but
they did drop an entire city.
They dropped an entire
or country or whatever it was.
Whatever it was, they dropped an entire city. They they didn't start the Battle of New York, but it's still a lot on them. And
but it also.
But here's the thing. Like, yes, we trust Captain America.
Yeah.
But what about Luke Cage? Like,
right.
I mean, we know Luke Cage, but he's still just a guy. What we saw of him, he was full on going to murder this guy.
I don't know if they're doing it but I mean, whether he was innocent or not, he's an ex-con. I don't know if they're doing that in Netflix.
Well, I never brought that up in the show. So
but that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, he, in reality, whether he was guilty or innocent and wrongfully accused, he's still an ex-con.
Yeah. I think what it is, because, like, yes, we trust Captain America, but where does that trust end?
Right.
Like, does it extend to Scarlet Witch or the Vision?
Absolutely
or
not.
Thor? Yeah, exactly.
You have to have faith that he's going to keep them in line.
Yes, but what if he can't?
Exactly.
That's
both sides.
Both sides are right. You can't really find I definitely see the benefits and the arguments for both. I do kind of lead towards Captain Iron Man because I see the benefits. I also see the disadvantages of having them report to the police or SHIELD or something.
Right. There are benefits, absolutely. But you see, I'm also biased because of reading Civil War.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to. I mean, yes, both sides took it a little too far.
Yeah.
But Stark took it way too far.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely... I mean, they're both kind of the villains in this story. Like, if they had sat down over a cup of coffee and said, okay, let's find a compromise, it would have been fine. But because in this particular story, they both kind of have their heads up their asses about their own arguments, it gets out of hand.
It became personal.
Yeah. So definitely, like, Iron Man's not the bad guy of Civil War. Captain America's also not the good guy. It's two friends having a really big argument, and they happen to have
not black and white.
Yeah.
Which is a good story.
I can't say which one I absolutely agree with.
I'm Team Cap. But...
Like, I want to be Team Cap?
But here's the thing. Okay. I'm Team Cap. Because, one, I do kind of more believe in the whole freedom. Because, again, not to get political, we have too much government. Like, we do. And, I don't need people to tell me what to do with my body. I don't need people to tell me, like...
Oh, that's a really good argument.
But... At the same time, I'm Team Cap because, well, Cap, plus he's got Ant-Man on his team. And that was one of the best
movies. Who is an ex-con?
Doesn't matter. Still one of the best movies. I'm talking about make-believe. It's still one of the best of the MCU movies. I like Winter Soldier in the comics, so henceforth I like Winter Soldier in the movies.
Well, those are probably one of the best of the MCU.
I mean, yeah, Iron Man's got Rhodey, but that's about it as far as his team for who I care about.
So you're saying you're Team Cap?
I'm Team Cap.
See,
I'm Team Cap.
Like, I want to be Team Cap
because freedom.
I get freedom, but that's also.
Well, here's the thing.
But what about the freedom of not being afraid that the next superhero battle is going to level your house?
Look, I also understand that, but again, and I don't know what the Sokovia Accords are. I don't know if it's register everyone with powers. But there are people out there with powers who just have powers, and they're not doing anything besides living their lives. Why should they have to, register or become, militarized because they just want to live their life because they happen to be able to, like, squirt water out of their nose?
Because there are other people who just happen to have powers, like Kilgrave.
Right.
Who is just trying to live his life in the most vile, demented way possible.
with the surveillance that Shield has, and I don't know what the show is because the show's terrible.
No, it's
But
not, but anyway.
I don't know what they're doing, but Shield has enough surveillance to know and keep tabs on who has powers. That's Shield's role. They've always been that.
Yeah.
This random 5-year-old is going to develop powers. They're
gonna
going to
know about it.
So unless they're active, why should they register? If they're in an active role, okay, maybe we can talk about registering. But it's about the freedom. Like, you can't blame somebody. Okay, you might be super good at math. Okay? That's a talent.
Yeah.
I don't have that talent.
No, but you can develop that talent. That's something you could...
I can also...
Well, yeah, that's a good
I
point.
can also develop... I
Martial arts
I could
or
go
something.
take boxing classes
Yeah.
or martial arts training. I'm not, because I'm fat and lazy. But that doesn't mean... I mean, look at The Punisher. Can you call him a hero? No. But he is.
Yeah.
He has absolutely zero skills. Not skills.
Well,
he has zero
powers.
He has tons of skills, but that's military training.
Yeah.
That's legit military training.
But he's acting as a vigilante.
Right.
Well, yeah.
But what I'm saying is, not everybody... There's a bunch of heroes that... Hawkeye doesn't have any powers.
No, but he's an incredibly
He
skilled
is
person,
incredibly
and he
skilled.
is on, like, the index.
Right. But he isn't...
As well as Black Widow.
doesn't have any powers. So, can you actually sit there and say, well, there are extraordinary people out. Falcon doesn't have anything either. Can you say we have to register extraordinary people? That means everybody that goes to Olympics has to register as a superhero?
I guess it's not so much... I think I'll agree with you. I don't think it's so much as what they have or what they can do.
It's what they do.
What they do.
Absolutely.
But there is still a doubt of this person... may have superpowers, who is not using them at all, but he still has them, and he could have a bad day
It's
and
possible.
destroy
Absolutely.
a city.
Absolutely.
And I think that's one of the big arguments in this, is that we don't know how they're going to react on a bad day.
But then you're getting into his life, and maybe this is going to push him over the edge. Maybe the stress of everybody knowing him. It's like a sexual predator, Like the sex offenders, they have to register. Okay, now granted,
That's a completely
no.
different
But
reason.
still, okay, look at it this way. And I might get flack for this, and the internet can light me up. I don't care. An 18-year-old kid who is in a relationship with a 16-year-old kid. Okay, that's 2 years.
Yeah.
If you ask me, that's fine. 18 and 16 is 2 years. My wife is 5 years younger than me. Okay? Granted, we didn't hook up when she was 12. But 18 and 16. You've been there.
Yeah.
You were 18.
Yeah.
You still hung out with 16-year-olds.
Sure.
Okay. If a parent presses charges, that 18-year-old is labeled as a sex offender.
Yeah.
I don't think that's right. Because he's not. At 16, you're allowed to drive. You're allowed to have a job. Granted, you're not allowed to vote. Are you allowed? I think
No.
18 is still the military,
18.
right?
So, well, yeah. No, 17.
But still, okay, let's change it. 19 and 17. Okay, 1 year away from being legal. 1 year. Do you really think that that 19-year-old is a sexual predator? Is a sex offender?
I mean, it's not... I mean, you're...
Now, granted, people that touch children...
Well, no, you're looking at
that's
it...
totally different.
You're looking at a general thing, like, this 19-year-old who has great grades and is a great person, but then there's another 19-year-old who is the exact opposite, and
But
is
that's
a
fine.
sex
But
offender.
you're talking about... I'm talking about the individual.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking about... And then this person has to go through life on a registry that I was in a relationship and had sex with a 17-year-old. I have to register everywhere I go. I am on a list.
Yeah, and looking at the individual, like, let's bring it back
He's
to
still
superheroes.
on a list.
Like, looking back at it, like, yes, the individual of Captain America. Like, yes, we're going to trust him, and him being on a list may be a little out there because we know him. We know what he's going to do. But it's the other individuals who
What I'm
have
saying
powers.
is, though, you can't blanket them.
Well, no,
cannot
you have to
lump
do
them
it-
all in at once.
No, you can't, but with a mass population of people, that's what's going to happen. You're not going to be able to look at it as the individual. There's going to be people.
That's
there's
why
going
I'm
to be
saying
us and them.
That's why I'm saying it's wrong as a whole. It's
Yeah.
wrong. As a whole, it's wrong because there are individuals within that do not belong there.
Maybe, but it's the fear and the trust of these individuals that we don't have. I mean,
I don't fear and trust. I fear and distrust everyone.
Yeah,
I mean, walking down the street, I distrust everyone. I fear everyone.
But everyone that you fear, chances are they don't have superpowers. They might have a gun
and they might not actually have anything other than a day where they're normal people. But still, I don't trust people.
Yeah.
But it's not up to me or anybody else to. It's like, what was that Minority Report where they could figure out who was going to be criminals in the future. That to me is completely wrong. Like,
okay, well, getting away from the people who have powers, the people who have powers and are actively using them in a, let's say, superhero police role like the Avengers are. What about them? Shouldn't they have some kind of structure and report to someone? Or some kind of...
And again,
yeah,
it's make-believe, so it's very hard. It's very hard to say. For the most part, if you look at... we're sticking with Marvel. If you look at... I'm just going to pull a number out my ass and it might not be right. If you look at 80% of the superheroes, they're on a team with a leader. With a guideline, a set of rules. They have structure. They have somebody they answer to. And
but even that person that they answer to should he file a report and give it to Nick Fury at the end of the day?
No.
We did this and we did this.
Because the government doesn't have to be involved with everything. In make-believe land. I mean, again, like, we can say that because we know these characters.
Yeah.
We know... Like Deadpool. Deadpool should be locked up.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
However, we know what
he's an entertaining character, and
Deadpool's. I mean, at this point, Deadpool's a hero. He's a card-carrying member of the Avengers. He's part of the Avengers.
Oh yeah, that's true.
He's, he answers to somebody. So no, S.H.I.E.L.D. should not have control because Nick Fury is a dick.
Yeah, he has an agenda.
Granted, it is for the greater good, but Nick Fury will do what he has to do to get it done. So no.
I mean, that's comics or movies. It's the same.
No.
It's the same way.
They should not. No, they should not be controlled because the people in control are never right.
Well, maybe control's not the right word. I think we can both agree that they shouldn't be controlled. I feel like But
that's what it's going to come down to, is controlling them. It always does.
Sadly,
it always does. It's a trope.
Sadly, yes. But
it's a cliche, but it happens.
Yes, but for just the sake of the argument... I can't help but sit here and look at from the perspective of the ordinary citizens,
and that's great.
I mean that's where I do kind of lean towards Team Iron Man.
Right, and I still have a hard time thinking from that because they don't exist. They just don't.
Yeah,
they don't have names, they don't have lives. Like I said earlier, if they get a name, then they're a character.
Yeah.
And then because they have thought bubbles. I don't think they should be regulated. I don't think they should be controlled. I don't think they should be militarized. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't have militarized team, like the Winter Guard or even S.H.I.E.L.D. as itself, like the Highland Commandos, things like that. Like, sure, the government should have superhero teams, but not every superhero should be part of the government.
I'm very excited for this movie. I've been very excited for this movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was announced.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I don't think there's... I want them to sit down and talk.
At least we know that Iron Man and Captain America's mother wasn't named Martha. But yeah, it's not going to be...
They're not going to be... They're not going to become best friends.
Exactly. Yep. I don't think we should be registered. Well, I think we should be registered. Well, my mother's name was Martha.
What?
Too? Okay, end the movie.
Best friends.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
God.
Well, sorry.
So many problems with that movie.
I know.
That's just
but
one
that's
of them.
that's not even what we're here about.
Yeah. I'm excited about Civil War. I can't wait for it. I'm also very excited about Doctor Strange.
Oh, God. Yeah, of course.
Because it's opening up an entirely new dimension for the MCU.
Yeah.
Just like Daredevil did the street level, this is not the cosmic, but the dimensional magic shit.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited for that. I'm very excited for what we know about Civil War, and I'm even more excited for the things we don't know about. What do you think of this argument of registering heroes?
But is it an argument?
It's a discussion.
Exactly.
It's a debate.
This is one of the few times I can't sit there and say, Trey, you're wrong.
No, you can't, and it's probably the only time it'll ever happen.
And it hurts. It hurts because I really want to.
What do you think about this discussion? What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments. Follow me on all the internets. Check me out on Patreon if you want to support more of my content. And subscribe to my channel so we can get out some more. Anything you want to add?
No, I got nothing. Don't
Okay.
follow me anywhere. I don't do anything. I'm not on Patreon.
Okay.
Don't do anything with me. Just do his stuff.
Well, like I said, let us know what you think in the comments, and we can talk about this more, and share the video so other people can join the conversation. Thanks for watching, and have fun. So Captain America, Thor, Hulk.